Hope for survival. Where will you be when the lights go out? At Hope for Survival, our goal is preparedness. Our mission, self-reliance. Get prepared. Hey fellow patriots, Bravo Echo here. Wanted to stop by and do an August update. This podcast could be titled, "What are you waiting for?" If you look around at all the events that are transpiring around our country, I'm baffled by the number of folks who are still sitting back waiting to get prepared. At Hope for Survival, as many of you know, we take an all-hazard approach to be prepared each day for events we see and events that we can't predict. Much of the focus the last months has been on the insurrection we're witnessing taking place around our country from city to city. And out of the blue, the last few days, we witnessed the development of a hurricane coming across the Gulf, two of them, but more so Hurricane Laura, which came ashore last evening, 100 plus miles per hour around a Cat 4 when it hit shore, and the amount of devastation in the aftermath. This would be under the natural disaster category, while we're watching man-made disasters take place from Portland to Seattle, Wisconsin, Chicago, Baltimore, Atlanta, Austin, Texas, and other places. Why did I say, what are you waiting for? Because I'm still witnessing the number of individuals who are sitting back, spending all their time watching news, taking sides, and failing to take steps to prepare their family to be self-reliant and to be able to step back away from the looming threat, to separate and keep a distance and be prepared. We hear stories in some regions of supply chain interruption, possible food shortages, devastation that went across the Midwest and Iowa a couple weeks ago with the Echo, wiping out roughly $10 million of cropland farms, primarily to the corn stock. Yeah, we may not see that impact today or tomorrow, but in the months ahead, in addition to the massive flooding that's taken place in China, primarily to their main food source being rice, we will also see impacts on global rice availability in the coming months. I know most of our rice in America comes from Northern California, but there will be impacts. Rice is one of the primary staples that we use in our food preparation for long-term food storage. So again, what are you waiting for? All the bells and whistles around you are sounding, and folks are still sitting back, doing nothing. Several years ago, Joint Special Forces put out what is known as an insurgency chart that you can take a look at. You can Google and find it. It'll be in the newsletter Saturday, coming up in edition 72 of the Patriot Express newsletter. And on this insurgency chart, it shows about 80% of clandestine steps and then the last 20% roughly is overt actions. And if you go through this chart, you're going to be able to see how many steps of the insurgency we are already witnessing around America. It starts off as peaceful riots, then it continues into damaging property, attacking government, attacking authorities, attacking government facilities. Once they see they can get away with it, they start spreading more devastation from city to city. If you've watched the video footage coming out of Wisconsin, you will see 30 to 45 minutes of peaceful protests, and an hour later car lots are being burned, and then gunfire in the streets. Not one or two or three or five shots fired, numerous shots fired at multiple locations. Individuals walking through the streets carrying long guns, primarily AR-15s. If you listen to some of the news coverage of these events, the news sources are labeling you as being part of the mafia because you have an AR-15. You're going to see actions like this continue as it spreads to more cities, maybe near you, and more negative press against you if you are taking part to protect your property. These groups, these anarchists, are also spreading out into restaurants. They're spreading out into neighborhoods. They're demanding that individuals leave their personal property, their homes, because the anarchists are claiming they now own them. My question is, if this happens to you, what are you going to do? What will be your steps? Have you walked through plans? Have you developed plans? Have you talked them over with your family? If you have to flee your home because of a fire set by the anarchists, do you have a location to go to? Do you have an escape route? Do you have bug out resources pre-positioned or packed to put in your vehicles so when you flee, you can still sustain and take care of your family until you reach your destination? These are things that you should be thinking about day to day, possible hazardous events. From hurricanes, derechos, wildfires burning in Colorado, numerous earthquakes, tornadoes, flooding. These events are happening more frequently, whether it's natural or man-made type events. We haven't even spoken on the number of attempted hack jobs on our cyber networks that's occurring numerous times daily. Cell phones, computer systems, banking. Do you have cash available if you can't get it out of the bank? Have you set this as one of your priority steps to ensure you have some cash in the event you have to flee, or at your bug out location, which could be your bug in location because you're not going or can't bug out? Have you built plans for individuals who have special needs, maybe the elderly, individuals who have debilitating health issues? I ask you, what is your plan? You can go from podcast to podcast, and almost every individual podcast in alternative news, they're talking about the looming events that are happening as we get closer and closer to our presidential election. Many believe, no matter the outcome of the election, these will continue on past the election. We can sit and wonder what is going to take place if this happens or if that happens. But the question I ask you is, what plans do you have in place to be self-reliant, to stay separated, to be out of the box, left of bang, to avoid going through bang and have a disaster happen directly to you. We've been talking about these events in our Thursday Zoom sessions for several weeks. We cover it in our preparedness training classes, and I try as much as I can to cover these topics in the Patriot Express newsletter, which comes out weekly. I recently published an article on Friday before the Patriot Express newsletter edition 71, and the title was something like a personal conversation with you. And in there I asked the question to the reader, what are you waiting on? Why are you hesitating on taking steps to be prepared for what appears to be coming? All indications are this is not going to slow down. There will not be any steps taken or measures put in place to prevent it. State governments are allowing it, and the federal government has stayed out of it because it's apparently a state responsibility at this point. If the federal government does step in, if the governor invites them into the state to squash these anarchists, will it stop it, or will it escalate it? What if you're at work in a township and it comes near you and you can't get out and your only way out is on foot? Do you keep a backpack in your vehicle with necessities needed to get you home safe on foot? Do you have routes planned that you can walk to get from work to home? How far is it? Have you discussed the routes you will take with your loved ones, so if something happens and you don't show up at home, that they will know where to look for you? Are you crossing waterways? How are you going to get across the water? Right now the water's warm, but you're probably in work clothes. Do you keep clothes in your get home bag that will allow you to change out into less professional clothing that will be heavy if it gets wet? Do you have a change of clothes to get into dry clothes to continue your walk? Have you thought about these things? These are all things that you should be planning for. It should be part of your preparedness package. If you would like to know more, you can contact me at preparedness101@protonmail.com, or just visit our website, hopeforsurvival.com. Look through the libraries of information on there, and if you can't find what you're looking for, send me a message. I'll point you in the right direction, or I will help you. Consider coming to one of our Thursday Zoom classes where we talk more in detail on these topics, on building plans. Okay? Just don't hesitate. The longer you wait, the less chance you're going to have of being prepared. The local 7-Eleven or the local grocery store, if it's not boarded up because of riots, the odds are the shelves are going to be empty or pretty much depleted. Time is running out. More and more people are starting to catch on and prepare. Therefore, available resources are going to dry up. You may end up with no resources when the moment comes you decide to get prepared. That's your decision, and I ask again, what are you waiting for? Your time is running out. So until the next time, I want you to think about that. Reach out to a family member who may be into preparedness. Ask them for help. Come join us. Let us help you. That is our goal, to help as many families as possible be prepared and self-reliant to avoid disaster. A disaster in your area is bad enough. You don't need a disaster in your personal life. So give it some thought, and we hope you'll come join us. Till next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bravo Echo out.